France is constructing a €5 billion canal to Germany that will boost its economy. Due to its close proximity to the Atlantic and the fact that several of Europe's largest rivers pour out into the region, northwestern Europe hosts the busiest ports on the continent. Every year they handle hundreds of millions of tons of imports which are then distributed across the continent via barges and other modes of transport. However, for these barges to traverse Europe, its rivers must be connected. As a result, throughout history, northwestern Europe has established an extensive canal network. Of these canals, two of the most important geographically are the Canal du Nord and the Canal de Saint-Quentin, which connects the Rhine River in Germany and the canals, ports and rivers of the Netherlands and Belgium, with the Oise and Seine rivers in France. Unfortunately, though, they are incredibly outdated. The Canal du Saint-Quentin, which opened in 1810, can only support a maximum boat beam of 5 meters. The Canal du Nord is no better. Built as a duplicate route, construction started in 1908, but was halted by the outbreak of World War I in 1914. The war caused widespread destruction to the canal, and in fact in September 1918, it was used as a major defensive position by the German army during the Battle of the Canal du Nord, which resulted in over 30,000 Canadian casualties. The canal remained damaged for over 40 years, until 1960 when construction finally recommenced. However, by the time of its completion in 1965, the canal with its 5-meter maximum boat beam was already considered inadequate. Fast forward 60 years later, and the two canals present a major bottleneck for inland barge transport, forcing the majority of cargo traffic between the two regions to be transported via truck. As a result, the idea of replacing the Canal du Saint-Quentin and the Canal du Nord with a larger 21st century canal, called the Canal Seine-Nord, has emerged. The concept was first introduced in 1975 but did not take off. Then in 1993 it was debated by the French government, and over the following years, the Voies Navigables de France carried out preliminary studies. In 2002 the canal route was selected. In 2003 the project was added to a list of French priority projects, and in 2008, the canal received a declaration of public utility. However, the financial crisis of 2008 soon halted progress. By 2013 though, interest had been reclaimed, and in 2016 French President François Hollande authorized construction while establishing the Société du Canal Seine-Nord Europe to manage the project. Over the following years the Société continued research and applied for EU funding. Then in 2019, the final financing agreement was signed by all parties, with the EU covering 41% of all project costs. With this important milestone reached, the canal could now finally be realized. The Canal Seine-Nord will stretch 107 kilometers along the existing Canal du Nord. Across the Hauts-de-France region, uniting the Oise River near Compiègne to the Dunkirk-Scheldt Canal, near Oisy-le-Verger. It will be 54 meters wide and 4.5 meters deep, with 6 locks along its length. Each lock will take 30 minutes to cross, and will include a chamber stretching 200 meters in length and 12.5 meters in width, allowing for the passage of barges up to 185 meters long and 11.5 meters wide. This corresponds to a maximum barge capacity of 4,400 tons compared to only 650 for the Canal du Nord. To cross the protected Somme River Valley, the Canal Seine-Nord will include a 1.3 kilometers long 30-meter tall canal bridge across the river, which will preserve the area's wetlands and the natural flow of the Somme. Right next to it, there will also be a 7th smaller lock that will unite it with the Canal du Nord, in addition to this main canal bridge. There will also be 2 smaller ones across the A26 and A29 motorways. Not only will the Canal Seine-Nord span existing infrastructure will span it. A total of 62 road and rail bridges will traverse the canal with a minimum vertical clearance of 7 meters each. Along the length of the Canal Seine-Nord, a total of 4 ports will be constructed. Together these will include 330 hectares of terminals and business parks, which will serve as gateways to the canal for companies in the surrounding region. To preserve the canal's water level during periods of low inflow, a 14 million cubic meter reservoir will also be excavated north of Péronne, which will be capable of supporting the canal for 4 months by itself. Lastly, the Canal Seine-Nord will be environmentally and socially friendly. For every tree felled during construction, 3 will be planted, resulting in 850,000 new planted trees. There will be 45 spaces for wildlife crossings, including a dedicated wildlife passage at AVU. The canal will also have 25 kilometers of lagoon banks, more than 1,100 hectares of environmental improvements, 75 kilometers of hedges, 200 kilometers of banks accessible to walkers, and 20 fishing pontoons. Once complete, the Canal Seine-Nord will take between 15 and 18 hours to traverse. It will involve 24.5 square kilometers of land acquisitions, in 55 million cubic meter of earthworks, including 25 million cubic meters of excavations, and 30 million cubic meters of landfill. In total, the project will cost 5.1 billion. 2.1 billion euro of which will be financed by the EU, 1.1 billion by the French government, 1.1 billion by the regional and departmental governments of Île-de-France, Hauts-de-France, Oise, Somme, Pas-de-Calais, and Nord, and the remaining 0.8 billion from loans. Further out, the project is part of the larger Seine-Scheldt European waterway, which will include further investments along the Dunkirk-Scheldt Canal on the Leie River in Flanders, and along the waterways of Wallonia, helping unite the Seine to the Scheldt and Rhine river basins. The Canal Seine-Nord will generate many benefits for France and the European Union. First of all, it will destroy the bottleneck between the Seine and Rhine rivers, allowing large barges to efficiently transport cargo from the ports of Dunkirk, Antwerp, Rotterdam, and Amsterdam to the Seine, Paris and beyond. As a result, it is projected that traffic on the canal will reach between 15 and 18 million tons a year by 2035, and by 2060, it is predicted the canal will result in 5 times more river traffic on the Nord and Île-de-France axis, and 20 to 35% more traffic on the Seine axis. Further out, the project will unite northern France with over 20,000 kilometers with navigable European waterways, significantly expanding trade opportunities. Maybe most importantly though, the canal will positively impact the environment. A barge carrying 1,500 tons of cargo can carry the equivalent of 220 trucks. Since funding was secured in 2019, the Canal Seine-Nord has advanced significantly. On April 8, 2021, environmental clearance was given for Sector 1, which stretches 18 kilometers from Compiègne to Passel. As a result, in 2022, preliminary works began along the sector, including 3 new docks, 3 new bridges across the future canal, and the resending of the Oise at Montmac. Meanwhile, archaeological studies have been underway, since the Canal Seine will cross land that was once the Western Front during World War I. It will have to deal with the delicate task of unearthing relics and soldiers' remains. In addition to this, project studies have been finalized, land acquisitions have progressed, and environmental clearance for the rest of the route has been pursued. Throughout 2024, contracts will be awarded, and finally in 2025, construction on the larger canal is planned to begin. By its opening in 2030, the Canal Seine-Nord will revolutionize France's canal network, helping boost transport efficiency and positively impact the environment. Thanks for watching. For more such content, subscribe to Geoeco.